Giacomo,
Yes.
welcome to the Squad Games podcast.
Oh.
Today, we're talking about Raveners. We're talking about our first impressions about the teams. We've played them. This is not a man reads book. You know, we might read a little bit of book. It might be man reads cards a little bit, but we're going to be talking about hobby. We're going to be talking about first impressions, how we felt playing the teams, how we think they're going to affect the meta, and, you know, our gameplay thoughts. So, quite a few little things. Our favorite rules for the teams. There are some great Kill Team content creators out there. Can You Roll a Crit, Glass Half Dead, and Command Point. They all have done great, just, you know, this is what the teams are. We're going to read from everything. Cool beans, right? We have all the models that we've painted. We're going to show off them in great detail. What we thought about building them, kind of like the ups and downs. I'll probably talk about my paint job. And if you guys want to know how we painted these teams, please let us know. Let's talk about our first impressions, what we liked, what we didn't like, and our biggest surprises about these teams.
Ooh,
you know, we've had them for quite some time.
Yes, we did. Let's see. With the Raveners, something I really liked. Obviously, the sculpts. The sculpts are really, really good. I was just looking at the ones on GW. The three they sell for about $58. And like most older Tyranid things, they're definitely showing their age. So this was a welcome change, and I'm really happy with the new sculpts.
Yeah. I am also very happy with the new sculpts. Some of the things that I didn't like, I really like the rules. I think the rules are amazing, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that I think the team is a lot of fun. I originally thought the team was going to be bad. My first impression, I was looking at them. I was like 15 APL, 5 models. How are they going to function on loot? On like longer maps, a bunch of different things. I was worried. That was my first impression, but we've played the teams now twice. So I've also what else? My biggest surprise is that they're not bad.
Yeah. I don't think I'm as surprised as I thought I was going to be. Like the rules for their burrowing like made sense. That's exactly what I thought they'd have.
Mm-hmm.
I just wasn't sure how they were going to implement it. But it's more or less kind of what I expected.
I had no idea that this team was going to tunnel and pop out of things. Like back in the old edition, right? They used to be like 9-inch move, right? They used to be like 11-inch charge models. Like I thought this team was just going to be like super
really fast.
You know, like fast attack, like they are. I didn't think they'd actually disappear off the table. You know, that's crazy. That's some crazy game design. I like it. It's fun.
I wasn't expecting a tunnel per se. I thought they were going to kind of get kind of like Aquilons where there's little markers around the table and then you'd be like, here's one, here's another. And they just like, then you decide when they pop up kind of thing. But I'm happy with the tunnel mechanic. I think it's a very unique rule. I've never seen anything like it in the game.
Yeah. For Battle Clade, I'd say like, I thought they would be stronger. And I think that one of the reasons why I think that they would be stronger than possibly they were is just because I think this team is way harder to pilot than I originally thought it was. That's kind of like my biggest surprise is like, I thought they would be a lot harder to actually pilot, you know?
Yeah.
I'd say like my biggest dislike about them are probably some of the sculpts, you know, and the fact that their leader has already existed.
Yep.
But the other big side about it is their sculpts, you know, their sculpts are really, really cool. You know, the models are really nice. They're really pretty, you know. What do you think? What do you like? What do you dislike? What is surprising about them to you?
I'm happy that AdMech in 40K gets another unit. I think that's pretty cool for those AdMech players out there. As a kill team, I don't necessarily love it, but I'm not like a hater, right? Like I think the sculpts are nice. And they're all servitors that make sense. They're all like combat servitors. They're not just regular servitors. You wouldn't send them out to fight, so it makes sense. I don't know. I didn't know what to expect. I maybe like more of those big disc head guys. I forget what they're called. Infiltrators. Stalker is one of those guys. More of them to be the kill team, but this is fine. And yeah, I'm a little bummed that the Techno-Archaeologist is like an existing model, and that is something you get again. But hey, whatever. Still cool.
To me, they're their faction ability is one of the strongest in the game, in my
Oh
opinion,
yeah.
next to lead the procession, right? I think this team can easily be like super, super, super oppressive, but I don't think it's in a toxic way. While I think sanctifiers are rather toxic and bad for the game, right? The way that they're designed, I
Hmm.
think that Battle Clade really emphasizes player skill. The better you are at this team, the more you're going to be able to dominate your opponents. And your opponents are probably going to feel like, at least my first impression, right, is that people are going to feel that you're going to have play into them. Once you start killing some of their key models, I feel like Battle Clade will start to falter. Like their leader is probably, in my opinion, the second best model in the game. The first best model in the game, in my opinion, is the Sanctifier leader. This leader, right, is probably like next best, and then maybe even the Tyranid Prime is like the third best, or close up there. He's in the top 5.
Hmm.
Like the fact that your leader, that the Battle Clade leader, what's his name?
The techno-archaeologist.
Yeah, that's such a weird name.
It
A
is when I kept
techno. So he like So
archaeologist.
does he like go to like dig sites and like play techno music while he's like uncovering stuff?
Wah, 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 wah. Yeah, it's exactly what he does.
That's
Um,
that's what I was thinking. Um,
yeah, so he goes and he gets relics, and so this is like his
while listening
gang.
to techno. Yeah,
Exactly. It's
yeah,
it's blaring in their MP3 players. I don't know what they use in the 41st millennium for music.
yeah. The blimp guy is also he's a
Oh
pretty
yes,
cool model. You know.
yes, the underseer, which is kind of your second leader, who's really the one taking care of all the servitors.
Yeah, these models really, really, really needed an update. Like the servitors, the old servitors,
Oh yeah, where they're all hunched over and they were like
awful.
this.
Overall, I think my first impression looking at the box, Games Workshop really did some really cool and creative rules and really knocked it out of the park. I didn't really like the tunnel aspect, but after playing the team, I was much more on board, and I can see where things are going to go and how oppressive and strong the team can be. And I think they have interesting play into each other, and like I think that Raveners might even beat like AOD, like in melee. Like this team is like elite, 5 models, crazy.
Yeah, I mean they more or less use chain swords. 5 attacks, 4 or 5 damage, pretty good, hitting on threes. One thing to note for both teams, which is a good thing, like you mentioned that they're not toxic. So the Raveners rely on the tunnel to get a lot of cool abilities, and obviously you can only set up your tunnel so far. So like that's kind of like your limit. You can't really overpush it, and the network counteract is what lets you be really crazy with Battle Clade. But you can only do network counteract on each guy so many times, where there's kind of like that rest period of like it's not just stacking on top of you, like where you're just getting juggled in the air and you can't come down. Like no, there's a point where you get to come down and fight back for a second,
Hmm.
and if you don't, then you die. Obviously
Yeah,
because it's very strong.
yeah,
So it's good. It's good.
and it's interesting because like the network counteract is going to be better against certain teams, and it's going to be worse against others, right?
Yeah.
Like other hordes, people that they can't out activate, they'll be relatively decent into, right? Like it will be, but it won't be like heavily oppressive. Like you did a crazy move that I didn't even think could happen, right? In our
Right.
battle report, you moved up like this laser dude, right? And you're like, yo, I'm gonna laser your dude. Well, you moved in dash, and I was like, all right, I'm still safe. And then you're like, I'm gonna network counteract. I was like, is that how it works? Like you didn't
Yep.
get to see that part, and we had to like stop the video, read through the book, make sure that's how it worked, and it did. And it was like, all right, cool. Like it was, and then you shot him and you whiffed. And I was like,
I
okay,
totally.
I don't know why I complained. I don't know why I complained.
I mean, in theory, it's a very strong ability. In fact, the first time that happens, I totally could see someone being kind of like a little salty.
Yeah,
But then you
especially with the
realize,
Melta. If you like moved and dashed the Melta up and you're like, yo, I'm gonna nuke you anyways. And I was like, thank goodness I was 2 inches away from the wall, you
right?
know?
Exactly. Like, so in theory, it could be pretty strong. But like we mentioned, there's limits, right? It stops you for a second before you can really get out of hand.
I also saw your brain melting, like
Yes,
literally
so much
melting.
to read.
Like, like I have I haven't seen you be like that while playing a team before. Like we've done a battle report now for every single army on release. We get the models painted, we submit them to Games Workshop, and then we play a battle and we record the very first battle. And the reason why we do it like that is so that players can see an objective way of how this team is probably going to function. And if we make mistakes, you can look at your own games in the future and be like, oh, the Tyranid player might use the damage reduction on the 3s, right? Like that's what I did, and it's damage reduction 4s, but I didn't, it's my first time playing the team. Like it's going to be a relatively common error when you're first starting the team. And it's good to be like, Dakotah messed up. We're going to, burn him.
Right. Cause now I won't mess up kind of thing, and that's good. It's part of the game, it's just part of the way of the life. But yeah, I think both teams are relatively fun to play.
I agree.
Whether I like one aesthetic or the other. And one is very, very, like, if you're starting out, I would recommend people play some Raveners.
Yeah, I agree. I think they're going to be a great starting faction team,
Yeah.
Depending on how expensive the box is,
Well,
I think we should get to the title of the video, right? Giacomo, is this team worth your wallet? Because right now, if you did not pre-order this team and get it at the Games Workshop site, when like Games Workshop site literally crashed, they literally took their own site off the internet because they had so many people trying to scalp the books. Because I think the End of Terra, like the super book, came out the same weekend.
Really?
And now on eBay, this box is going for $330. $330. Like, where are we living? That's literally it's literally double the price.
It's seriously.
I don't even understand, and the box is even out yet. I was like, yo, can I report this guy on eBay? This is sus. And eBay's like, no, it's not against our rules. And I'm like, I was upset.
I mean,
I'm upset that I can't get another box. I want to make a painting video. We have a brand new brush range coming out this week. We're getting our very first shipment in this week, right? It's Highlander Hobbies, our brushes, right? And Kolinsky Sable, they're very nice. But like, I want to do a painting tutorial because I've had so many people ask me how I painted this dude right here. How did I paint him? Right. And the others. But I gotta get a Tyranid to do so, right? Because I don't think somebody's gonna want to watch me paint a Jeans Tyranid and be like, this is how you paint the Ravener Kill Team. Watch me paint this Jeans.
It's the wrong model. Like, wait, what? Did I click the wrong video?
Yeah. And I don't think that people understand, like, there's a large time constraint, like we have to get things painted. We got to read the rules. We got to make a battle report. We got a lot of stuff to do in a short amount of time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And on top of that, we had 2 tournaments in between when this stuff was coming all on around in that time frame. So it was like, there was just a lot of stuff happening.
And the All Valley team tournament, like I can't even.
We're not even slowed down yet.
I can't shut off my lasers. Like the only time I shut off my lasers is when I go to sleep because it's too dangerous. I've had too many laser fires.
Do not let it. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
I mean, heck, even after this, we have another tournament coming up in a month. So like,
in August.
In August, not in 2 months. So yeah, so it's just like, it just never really ends, which is fine. I don't mind it.
And then Las Vegas Open, right?
And then Las Vegas Open.
It's going to be exciting, and I'm attending a few in between there. So
that's right.
Going to Nova, I'll be at Tacoma, it's going to be fun. Giacomo. Okay, so let's do some rules. Let's look at a couple teams. We'll change out some of the models so we're not just staring at the Tyranid Prime the entire time. Raveners, 5 models, right? I don't know if the Warrior is worth it. If you guys can find a reason why the Warrior is worth it, please put it in the comments below, or go on our Discord and write it in there if you're listening from our podcast. Or hell, if you're watching from the podcast, just go to our YouTube video, help support us, comment so that we can get a little bit more engagement for the engagement gods, right?
Always helps out.
So 5 models. You get your Tyranid Prime, your Fell Talon, your Tremor Scythe, your Venom Spitter, your Warrior, and your Rekka, right? Your Wrecker is literally is probably my favorite model of the bunch, of all of them. So I guess we'll pull up faction rule or no operatives? We're doing operatives.
Let's do the ops. The faction rules a lot.
Okay. So we have the warriors here, right?
Let's see if we can make an argument for this guy.
I don't know if you can, man. You know?
I'm in total agreement. It's just kind of hard to like.
That's not what I want to do.
See his like big value, you know?
Yeah, I'm doing this live. Doing it live.
There we go. We love it.
There we go. There we go. There we go. And here we go. So the Tyrannid Ravener Warrior. We are doing this live for our patrons. So if you guys like live content and patrons, we take some time before the episode and after the episode to talk to them because of our patron members, you know, they make this a lot more viable. Yes. Warrior, instinctive behavior. Whenever this operative is shooting against, fighting against, or retaliating against an enemy, wounded enemy operative, or an enemy operative that has performed the fallback action during this turning point, the operative's weapons have the lethal 5 special rule. I don't think this guy's very viable. A lot of times, I think how this team is going to function, right, is you're going to hide a lot of your models turning point 1. Turning point 2, you're going to have a couple more models on the map, but you're probably not going to do a lot of fighting. Turning point 3, you're going to start stomping the enemy. And turning point 4, hopefully you're crushing the enemy. Otherwise, you're going home, you know, real early, right? And I feel like this team has like a weird Chaos Colts vibe where they're stronger the later the game goes because your tunnel's bigger, you have more uses for your strat ploys and all that kind of stuff. They're extremely oppressive anywhere near their tunnels, extremely oppressive. And, you know, you're going to use this model's ability, like this instinctive behavior maybe once in a game. You know, if they charge a model that doesn't die, maybe it's useful into Space Marines, you know, maybe it's really useful into Space Marines because maybe you don't kill them all the way. But like when I was fighting Giacomo, anything I touched, I would just murder, you know, like crack grenades, you know, claws didn't matter. You know, you had 8 wounds. So I was, you know, maybe these guys are good into Felgor. Maybe they're good into Goremongers, you know, maybe Legionary, somebody with a lot of wounds. But other than that, I don't really see the Tyrannid Ravener Warrior really useful. What about you, G?
Like, I can't think of a use for it because like let's look at Felgor, right? You mentioned them, and I thought of this. If my memory serves me correct, you should be able to burrow while in combat. So you could just frenzy them.
You can spend a point to fall back for free and then burrow if you're near a tunnel.
Right. So if you kind of just do that, then you just have them frenzied and they're frenzied to nobody and then they die. So like that's a win-win for you. Like frenzy is nothing, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's actually really incredible what they can do.
Yeah, but I mean, you could just fall back too. Like they have a lot of good ploys, you know? And what's crazy about this team, something that you don't realize until you're playing them, turning point 2, I had 7 command points. You don't need to spend any command points turning point 1, period.
Yeah, you go
second and your Tyrannid Prime is giving you 2 CP. You have 7 CP. It's crazy, right?
It's pretty nuts.
And then if you don't use anything on turning point 2, because you probably don't need to, right? Unless you're playing into Sanctifiers or something that's going to just bum rush you. You're going to have like possibly 10 command points at the beginning of turning point 3. And then you can be like, I'm spending every single tack ploy because I'm coming out of tunnels and I'm here to have some fun. You know, that's crazy. All right. Next operative, we have the Rekka. He is my favorite operative of the team. He has a bone mace, you know, this is their tail attacks. All of their tail attacks are silent. So
yeah, that's real nice.
Yeah, and I used it. I was like, yo, I'm just going to implant you. I am just going to stay unconcealed. You're within 3 inches and I'm going to attack you. I don't need to kill you. You know, I'm going to do that. And then if I don't get first turning point, I'm going to spend a command point. I'm going to fall back with this model into the hole. And if I do get first turning point, I'm going to charge you and kill you.
Yep. So it
Or I'm
almost
gonna,
makes sense to just find a point on the map that like I want to control this and have your tunnel just go
yeah.
straight for it. Like sure they show zigzags in the diorama, but like I don't think I'm ever zigzagging this thing.
I think on hamburger maps, this team is gonna be, or hot dog maps are gonna be way, way better. Because you start, well, we'll get to that when we get to the faction rules.
Yeah.
Rekka's, this guy's amazing. He's way tankier than you think he is.
Mm-hmm.
I think Giacomo attacked him 5 times before he died.
It took a lot of shots
5
to take him
times.
down.
Even with me misplaying him and him dying on the 5th time that Giacomo attacked him, right? And then I would have death frenzied and your model would have died anyways. It wouldn't have changed the game at all, right?
Right.
But like the fact that every time I activate, I heal D3 because of an equipment piece. And when you attack, I think we also did crush before I struck,
Yeah.
Still,
So you can do additional damage. It's just like
still wouldn't have mattered. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what's nice about this team is they all kind of have like an ability that helps them finish something off. This is his, obviously.
And he has a 4-up save.
That's true. He's one of the few because everyone else is rolling 5s.
I don't even think I played him with a 4-up save. I think I played him with a 5-up save.
It's okay.
Yeah. That's what 3 hours of sleep will do to you. But this model's so tanky. I literally put him on a point and Giacomo couldn't remove him until turning point 4.
It took a while.
started attacking him turning point 2, right? And turning point 3. And then I was like, yo, I'm just going to kill this guy. Now I'm going to kill this guy in melee while holding this point and securing it. And then you're like, all right, turning point 4 finally took it from you.
Yeah.
Crazy.
It's pretty nuts. This guy's great at holding points. And could you imagine if the whole team had 4-up saves? Like,
no, I couldn't.
Knowing what you know, like how tough this team would be.
Be busted, I think. Be busted. Tremor Scythe is up next. I never got to use this thing. He's a great model to keep in reserve, to keep it to like have it so that he could pop out or he could attack somebody from inside his tunnel or whatever he does, like he's a great model for don't come on my tunnels. Don't come to me. And Giacomo, you were like, yo, I'm not going to play your game. I'm not going to get anywhere near your tunnels. And I feel like a lot of people are going to play the game that way. But with their tunnels, you can hard force an objective that's going to probably be yours.
Yes.
And that is what is going to be really oppressive about this team. Teams that can't deal with them in melee, you're going to have to give up wherever they're going. They might even be going to your home objective and going for storm objectives. Like they could do some crazy stuff,
Yeah, on hot dog for sure.
Yeah, I think this is a great model to keep in your tunnel. I think you really only need to keep 2 models in your tunnel. It's this guy and the Fell Talon.
Yep.
I think those are the only 2 that you should keep in there. He's a good model. 20 wounds. I think he was like one of the few models that were alive at the end of the game. You have the Fell Talon up next. This model has poison, right? Which is crazy. And their poison is not the same poison as poison that already exists in the game. It is one thing that annoys me about this team. I wish that we had universal keywords. I wish all poison was the same. Maybe this was Xenos toxins doing D3 damage, or burn, that's, like a little ridiculous. He has toxic lunge. He can attack from out of the tunnel. Not the other guy. That's this guy. The other guy that's in, he can pop out. Right.
Yes.
Yeah. He has poison. He has 2 different, shooting attacks.
Yep.
One 6 inches, which is nice. They're both silent.
Yep.
And the other one's poison. I don't know why you would ever use the pincer tail. Literally. Maybe you're not trying to kill somebody. Maybe you're trying to implant them,
Even then, I would just try to poison an implant.
Yeah. I think this model just ran around and did stuff at the end of the game. We didn't really get to see a lot of them. But I think that that's going to be the majority of the case. I think these 2 models are going to pop out in the middle of turning point 3. And you're either going to see them die quickly because you're already loosened, or you're just going to run over the rest of the team with them, you know?
That's the nature of a 5-man team too, right? Like in a
Yeah.
6-man team, you got to sacrifice one guy to go do the job. So now in a 5-man, one guy's going to get left behind.
Yeah. The Ravener Prime is really good. Giacomo tried his darndest to kill this guy.
Yeah,
Tried
for a
his.
while.
You shot like the arc cannon at him. You shot like a whole bunch of stuff at him, and he lived on like 1 wound. And every time I'd activate him, he'd like heal up to like four life, you know. And you just couldn't kill him. I was rolling well, you know. There's a whole bunch of crazy stuff. This model was pretty good. You know, I think I even damaged myself by
using
failing one of my CP on turning point 3, you know?
the sympathetic lima or something.
Yeah, and I think I rolled a 1, so I took a damage. But this model is amazing. You know, he's really good, gives you CP, really tanky. You just remember to use his strategic gambit, you know? I think that's going to be a thing that people are going to forget.
Yeah, turn 1 and 2, incredible. 3 and 4, you can, but you really don't need to after that.
You know, I should have been showing off the models as this goes.
That's okay.
My bad. Here.
You can now.
Yeah, I'll do that now.
This Venom Spitter is actually one of my favorites.
He is probably the best model on the team.
Yeah.
It's probably the best.
The threat he has, and obviously he keeps his range on the first shot, is really, really good.
Yeah.
Like, or when he wants to use his dorsal sac, that is, specifically, because you can save it. You don't have to use it right away.
Yeah. I think I used it right away because you kind of like threw like a really big gunner out there, and I was like, I'm probably not, you're good enough. You're not going to let me get a blast. So I might as well just kill a big tanky guy, or try to, and then use a dash to go inside, because 3 APLs.
Right.
Rock 'em, sock 'em.
That's what I was hoping for. I just didn't expect to totally die from it. I was like, okay, maybe he'll be like a little injured, and like I'll use one of their abilities, which we'll go over later, to be okay. But that didn't happen. So the gambit was not in my favor.
Yeah. So see what happens, Giacomo, is that, you know, these guys, he just does too much damage. He just does too much, you know? That's what happens when I roll well and you roll bad too, you know? Like you roll bad.
It'd be like that, you know? It'd be like that. It'd be like that.
What's crazy about this, right, is that I chose the focus blast when I still had the descended, the enlarged venom sac, right? So I had lethal 5s. I had 1 additional attack. So I was rolling 5 dice, hitting on 3s, 4/5 damage, range in infinite, piercing 1, and poison, you know, and like 5 attacks. Like, what's going on? I shot, and then I just ran inside the building. I dashed inside the building, and then you couldn't shoot him after that.
It was a cocktail of damage. It was crazy.
And then what's crazy about that is, since I was already on your side of the table at that point, the very next turning point, I could have came back out the door and shot another clump of models, or I could have shot a different model. But I didn't choose either one of those. Instead, I chose to run around, climb over a wall, and then attack 2 models in melee, and try and live and implant a guy, you know? And like, it was pretty disgusting, you know? Charge, fight twice. Like, the team has so much functionality and so much threat, and the poison is really dangerous on this particular model too. And he has 20 wounds. I think you had to shoot him like 2 or 3 times just to get rid of this guy, you know?
Yeah, he's a little tankier than you expect, so he just kind of lives out for a while. Mm-hmm. You know, good arc rifle shot, take him out though.
Yeah. This is actually my favorite model that I painted. I really enjoyed. I don't know if he's getting blared out too much from. There we go. Maybe I'll just turn down the light a little bit. I really enjoyed painting this model because I really wanted. There's some great people who did them on Warhammer Community, right? They really made the Venom sac look like translucent and give like that really venomy appearance. I wanted it to look like something else, you know, but really inflamed, right? So I used a little bit of an airbrush, but airbrushes aren't necessary. Doesn't have to, you know. I used a lot of purples and stuff like that. And what's interesting is this paint scheme is really hard for me to see being partially colorblind. I showed it to Giacomo and he was like this purple doesn't really look purple to me anymore. Um, Apparently it looks really nice. My wife says that it's like a plummy type purple now, but it
Yeah,
didn't look
it
like
comes
that.
out really nice.
Yeah, it didn't look like that before I put on. I liked it better because it was more vibrant before I put on the enamel wash. Um, but you know, everyone really likes it, so I'm not going to complain.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So this model's crazy, 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 crazy. Let's switch to this one. Yeah, and we'll talk a little bit more about these guys. So, and then I'll swap out some of these models so we can see them. So burrow or tunnel is their main ability, right?
Right.
The reason why tunnel is so good, right? The reason why tunnel is so good is because on maps that have the long edge deployment, on your second turning point, the tunnel is going to be in the middle of the map. Plain and simple. If you start on the edge, you're going to have it in the direct middle of the map. And then your model can come out on the other side of that. So if somebody is on the middle objective on turning point 2 or going to be, you can come out on it and start attacking people. It's really oppressive. And you can like spend to make it like if you're on the tunnel, light terrain, you know, it's crazy. So they can't get shot unless they're within 2. And Giacomo, one of the biggest things was that you didn't want to get close. But tell us about that.
Well, so when you're mentioning turn 2, right? So you have a 10-inch range of just appearing anywhere, plus anyone who can do ranged attacks. So it's another 3 inches, plus their move and dash, which of course is a little subtracted. So you essentially have a 21-inch threat range with range, and a what is it, a
Well, it's a
19?
10, and then you could have your model come out on the other side of it,
Mm-hmm.
barely touching your base, and then you can move 5 inches, right?
Yep. And then another dash because you have 3 APL, and you could melee, or if
It's
you're
crazy.
not close enough to shoot, like the range is so good. Like you don't want to be near the tunnel because of that secret attack that'll happen, and it's all in silent, so you could just stay and conceal behind a piece of cover, and it's just like I don't take any damage back anyways. There's no retaliation.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's crazy.
it's terrifying. It's terrifying to think about. So like you kind of want to stick back a little bit against them because unless
Mhm.
you're a team that you think could be as aggressive with them, but I don't think Battle Clade can be melee aggressive.
Yeah, not against this team at least, right?
Definitely not this team, in my opinion.
Burrow is a cool ability, right? You can pause the video if you want to read it. Perhaps you probably already know what it does, right? You can go into a tunnel and you can come out of a tunnel, right? And guess what? It costs an AP to do so, right?
Easy.
In the battle report, I came out of a tunnel and I forgot to have it cost an AP, and then I did 4 AP. You know, I messed up, and I think that's probably going to be something that a lot of people mess up at the first, or you can learn it from us now and know that it does cost an AP to come in or out. But there's one model that can come out or in for free, you know, it is something in this lets one model do it at some particular time. I can't remember off the top of my head, but burrow is kind of like their other ability. Tunnel, you got to make them. Burrow lets you interact with your tunnel. And then finally, predatory instincts, which is arguably one of the other most powerful things about this team. You get to counteract and change its order.
Yes, and this lets you do the burrow, by the way.
And you get to fight twice. There's a lot.
Yes, they definitely need the fight twice.
Yeah.
Yes, which is nice. I wonder if we're ever going to get like a sum of things, or if we're just going to get like Astartes keywords and predatory instinct keywords. It's not a bad thing. It's just something to think about.
So you could like move up on engage, right? Shoot somebody, and then that be your last activation. So you throw a crack or something like that. They have one chance to shoot your guy, and then you could counteract with that model and turn him to conceal, and then they have to get within 2 inches. You know, There's a lot of crazy stuff that you can do with this team. Very, very fun, you know? Now I'm going to speed through the strategy ploys, right? You have tunnel lurkers. You know, The thing that I dislike about their strategy ploys is that everything they have deals with their tunnels. And it's really, really oppressive on hot dog maps and not as much on hamburger maps, right? If you don't know what those are, I apologize. We started calling them hot dog, nachos, quesadillas,
All sorts
grilled
of
cheese
things.
sandwiches. Oh yeah, we started. Yeah, it's
Maybe
an
maybe one
old.
day back.
Yeah, one day we'll bring it back, right? Trombonelles, what are those called? Those like
Oh,
chocolates,
trobalones, whatever, something like that.
trombolones.
The
Yeah, but
Swiss
we don't.
candy.
Yeah, we don't have diagonal deployments anymore, or at least for now, right?
We'll see.
So yeah, so that's Death from Below is another one. We have Whipcord Emergence. I did use this a lot. I think I used it 2 or 3 times.
It's good.
Never actually used it though. All of my models that would come out, I didn't get a chance to kill anything in melee because you were so far away from it, Or I'd just throw a crack grenade at them instead, and then they die. All right. Writhe Out of Sight, I definitely used. I might have used it incorrectly once in the game. This is a difficult rule. Let's go over it real quick. So select one friendly Ravener operative. That friendly operative can immediately perform a free burrow action. If it's within 2 inches of your tunnel, it can immediately perform a free fallback or reposition action before it does so. So yeah, I did do it incorrectly. I think I was up on top of a vantage over the top of it, so I was 3 inches away, and then I used a reposition to get in and then jump in. So do be aware that this is somebody might play this wrong because they might just read it as a singular sentence without the period, like I did.
It's okay.
List Dexia does things. Fireflight Poise, you have Slithering Evasion, which is great. You can perform a fallback action for 1 AP less, which is great because you could fall back for 1, then you could hit somebody with a tail, and then you could burrow, right? You could do all sorts of things. Or, heaven forbid, at the end of your last turning point or something, you came up, you implant a model, so you charge a model, implant them, they can't kill you. They're like, oh my gosh, right? And then at the beginning of your next turn, you're like, okay, cool. I'm going to leave this model alive so I can get an extra point because who knows what maybe that model can't do very much.
Right.
And you can charge from that model into the control range of another model. It's crazy. I love that, this Firefly ploy. Death Frenzy. I love this one. I really wanted to use it. And I would have gotten to use it if I played the rules right. But I didn't get to use it because none of my guys died in melee, right? So
it's okay.
Death Frenzy is when your model dies, it can deal D3 damage, or if you're
the Venom man,
descended, the Venom guy, he can do 2D3 on explosion.
Big explosion on himself.
Yeah, Subterranean Horror. Use this Firefight ploy when an enemy operative is performing the fight action, and select friendly Ravener operative on your tunnel to fight against. In the resolve attack dice step of that sequence, you resolve the attack dice first. So essentially, it's like you have a what is that called? You're basically in a stronghold when you're not in a stronghold, but you're in a stronghold because you're on a tunnel. 5 attacks. 5 attacks, you get a strike first. Crazy, absolutely
very
crazy.
Good.
And then you have Burrowing Strike. I believe that you can strike. This is the one that allows you to strike from outside, and if it's a Fell Talon, this is the one that allows you to do a Toxic Lunge out of action, stuff like that.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah, it's faction equipment. Let me change these models.
What I was thinking?
What's your favorite flight? Yeah, go for it.
I was thinking, if you put your tunnel inside a stronghold, you could pop out with anyone. Let's say the
Popov out.
Shout out to Alex Popov. You could pop out with the big toxic sack man and do a blast shot inside the.
You can't. So the toxic guy, I'll put him back over here so we can read it real quick, just so you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is a cool idea, but I think Games Workshop knew that could be a problem.
Oh, do they prevent it when you jump out?
Yeah, let me move to the other one. So the descended dorsal sac, right? I believe it also says until this operative has shot with its venom bolt, or until it performs the burrow action.
Okay.
So, well, you still could do it, but you wouldn't get the lethal 5, right?
I mean, you'd have the lethal 5 anyways. I'm just
Oh
referring to
yeah,
using the
I guess
blast
you're right.
profile in general. Just like
Yeah,
popping out and using blast inside that's pretty strong.
yeah, you're right.
It's
You're
a
right.
secret surprise, and you don't have to spend your dorsal sec yet, to
Hmm.
get the blast 5 or the lethal
Also,
5.
also,
And
if you
into the
put
dark. Yo,
also
that's another one.
your token, if you have it like half on one side of a Volcus wall and half on the other side of a Volcus wall, you could technically have your model pop out on one side or the other, whatever's more beneficial, right?
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
very good. Yeah,
So I
there's a lot
guess
of cool things with the tunnel.
you could do that, but when you pop out of a tunnel, you no longer have the unlimited range, the +1 attack, or the lethal 5 rule, unless you're shooting inside of, or you're in into the dark. You guys know what I mean. You know what I mean.
Right? Yeah, because I'm thinking it's just kind of using it as the pistol. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah,
G,
that guy's
what's
great.
what's your favorite firefight ploy from these guys?
Um,
I'll repeat them: burrowing strike, subterranean horror, death frenzy, and slithering evasion.
I mean, I guess Death Frenzy is the most exciting one.
It is.
It's just cool when you like go out one last time, and then with 5 models you need it. Like it's gonna come handy every now and then.
It is doing an extra D3 when people aren't, like a Space Marine might kill you and be like, "Oh man, I only have 2 life left. Oh, are
Right?
you gonna kill me?"
Boom.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
Right. Just try to take them out right there.
So the final bit of these guys, right, is I think this is the last guy. Back a
Yeah,
tad.
Crusher.
Yeah, I gotta finish
Oh,
him. I
Rekka,
really,
Rekka, Rekka, Crusher,
yeah.
Rekka, Wrecker. Too many wrecks in this game.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. So these guys have some amazing equipment. Absolutely amazing equipment. We have heightened senses, right? Once per battle, when rolling off to decide initiative, if a friendly operative is underground and an enemy operative is within 5 inches of your tunnel, you can re-roll your dice. This could have been useful in our game, but you were never close enough to my tunnel. And I don't like competitively when you give something to your opponent that they can play around, right? That's
Right.
some reason why I don't like certain tac ops, Um, and this is like, hey, if you get within 5 inches of my tunnel, I'm going to be able to re-roll a dice. I just don't. Might be okay in some matchups or in certain maps or something like that. But again, I think it's map dependent. I'm not a big fan of it. What do you think, G? Oh, I think we lost G. I'm going to keep talking. So we have Acid Blood up next, right? Make sure that the pod is still going. Okay. So Acid Blood is up next. We have this one is a great faction ability ploy. I didn't get to use it very much because Giacomo didn't do a ton of damage. And when he did do damage, I would forget, to use this. But, I think that's just having a new team and playing it with that. So this is an absolutely great ploy because not only do you have Death Frenzy where you're doing additional damage, but heaven forbid you do more damage on top of damage that people didn't see. It's just going to break the kill team math a ton. Absolutely wonderful piece of equipment. I don't think you should not play this unless if you're going into like Pathfinders or somebody who doesn't do a lot of melee. But even if you do melee, they're always going to strike you back once because this team only does 4 or 5 damage. So there's always a possibility they're going to do at least one more. Maybe it's not as useful into 7 wound teams or 8 wound teams, but 9 wounds, 100% you could break the math with this, It's a great faction equipment. We also have Metamorphic Flesh, which is probably the best piece of faction equipment that they have. Whenever an operative activates, it regains D3 wounds. Absolutely cooked. I use this like literally every time because I couldn't forget because it was too good and it kept my model still alive. It kept my model alive. It kept everything else alive. It was absolutely 100% worth taking. I think it kept my leader alive because my leader healed twice. The Rekka healed twice. I don't think anything else. I think everything else died within a turn, and I think I'd only lost one other model. So, yeah. And then finally, faction equipment wise, we have chromatosphere camouflage. I actually tried to play this and I didn't remember what it was. But I can retain one additional cover save and it doesn't, so you can retain two, right? Oh, not that one. There we go. G's back.
There we go. Give me 1 sec.
No problem. So I tried to play this one and I couldn't find, I knew that my models could retain two from cover. But in the heat of the moment in the battle, I just could not remember what gave me two. So I remembered one of the faction employees was that you get to re-roll a defense die if you're on a tunnel. And I was like, oh, I guess I don't get to do it because I'm up on advantage. But I should have auto-retained a secondary dice. You know, it is what it is, right? But I'd say this team isn't overly complicated, but it is complicated enough that you will make some mistakes. So, okay, we're going to move on to Battle Clade now. G, what operative would you like me to pull out first to put on to the, what would you like to start off with? You know,
let's start off with a techno archaeologist, just because that's the leader. Yeah, we'll just go down the go down the path.
All right.
Very simple.
Let me grab the homie. This homie is a beautifully painted model, very beautiful red. And
yes.
Let's see if I can get him in focus. Ooh yeah, there we go.
Big ol' red.
Mm-hmm. So Giacomo, this team I know a little bit about stuff about, and I have opinions about the stuff that's the most like normal that you would have opinions of, but I don't know. I couldn't tell you what any of their ploys do or any of that kind of stuff. Why don't you give us a rundown of some of the rules on this team?
Absolutely.
Like so,
one thing that this team is very much, it relies on bubbles a lot, right? Like you're going to be taking comms device, or at least I can expect people to take comms device, because there's a lot of support abilities this team has access to. So expect to create a lot of like bubbles for your guys so they can benefit from accurate or get free network counteracts, right? That's how this team works, is in little teams, now that I've played them a few times. They're not as tanky as you might think. So be aware of that, right? Like they'll get chopped up in melee with without a problem, you know, no problem there. And the network counteract is an excellent ability, right? Like it'll surprise your opponents; they won't see it coming. With in a way, you kind of have extra shooting attacks or just doing extra mission abilities where your opponent doesn't see it coming. So they have this fake elite status.
Yeah, let me grab that right here.
Yeah.
Trying to get these.
Network counteract is very cool. You know, it helps you do things you might not normally be able to do, right? Like, because you may not ever counteract against a team that's smaller numbers than you, but you know, you this way you can at least get some off, which is always nice. And we've confirmed that you don't need your opponent to have an activation in order to do network counteracts, which is nice. So you would do them, and then the guy you give the network counteract to does his counteract, and then that's it. They can't be counteracted again or network counteracted again.
Is it network counter, or is it the nospheric counteract?
So it's the nospheric network, which is which allows them to transfer power, which then allows them to network counteract. There's so many different keywords for it, but network counteract is really the main one.
Yeah. I think that this is a very surprising ability, and you will get spots where you're going to get feels bads for your opponents, right? Like you're going to do something, they're not going to see it coming, and you're going to nuke somebody with a Melta, or you're going to nuke somebody with a laser, or you're going to double steal loot. You know, like there's a reason why me and G didn't play loot in our game, right? Because like I feel like Tyranids have a really bad time on loot, and these guys would be like, I'm just going to loot 2 points at once and good luck, you know? Pretty cool, pretty exciting. I mean, this team has so much play because you have to know what operatives you want to use and what you want to do, you know? Let's see if I can make this a little larger. Just like earlier, that is not the right one.
Yeah, there's a lot this team does. And like you mentioned earlier, when I was just reading through it, like just trying to remember, what does this guy do? What does this guy do? It's one of those teams. So it's kind of like salvagers the first few times you play them, because you're getting used to what every operative does and
Mm-hmm.
remembering the combos on like where to stack bonuses. So
Yeah.
it's going to have that same sort of feel. If you've already played salvagers, then you're used to this sort of mechanics.
Yeah.
Um, so that's a bonus if you play the little elves, sorry, little dwarves over there doing their thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, fun team.
Is there any interesting, before we move on to the operatives, is there any interesting like strat ploys you want to go over? Like the no spheric possession? Is this one interesting? It's a
Yeah, this
support
is one I
ability.
almost take. Yeah, it's one I take almost all the time, just because accurate's really nice. And this is what I meant with using the
Even
bubbles,
on
right? So,
TP1? Because if you used a comm
if you got
device,
if you got a shot, take it, right? But I doubt you're going to really get a shot.
mhm.
Yeah, so like, because accurate one is always nice, because a lot of guys, like your regular combat dudes, are hitting on fours. So any chance of you not having to roll a dice is wonderful. I'll take it all day.
And this is great with the comms device.
Yeah, because of support. So whether you're the auto proxy or if you're the underseer who's giving out the bubbles, so in theory you could have a 6-inch bubble and a 9-inch bubble somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That is one thing to note with this team. The auto proxy and the underseer themselves aren't the greatest in combat, so they're essentially antennas. So be aware of them.
It's fair. It's fair.
You have this one, the Incantation of the Iron Soul. This one you can subtract 1 damage from pretty much anything. From
On a
3 or more,
5-up,
but
right?
it is on a 5-up, so that's the caveat. If it can do against criticals, but it is against 5-up, so it's a little bit harder. 5-up Villain Pain's not bad though, or damage reduction.
Yeah, I think
It's not terrible.
this is a really good ploy, especially if there's a team that doesn't have like 4 or 5 damage. Like if you ever rolled and actually saved any of my damages, some of your models would have lived, but you just rolled really bad in our
happens,
battle, right?
Like,
In our battle.
and this like you mentioned can change that breakpoint of your wounds, right? You're either 8 or 11 for your gun servitors. This can change all the difference by just giving you like 1 extra wound. Then you
Mhm.
network counteract or something, that they weren't expecting.
Yeah, and then you're able to hit them first or something like that, or you can fall back or whatever. Yeah, well, you wouldn't be able to fall back, but that's besides the point with the counteract.
Yeah.
Okay. We have prioritized acquisition. What is that?
So this one helps you in.
This is a lot of words.
This one will help you in melee.
Okay.
Essentially, you're going to be able to control a point better, and you'll fight on the point better as long
Okay.
as you're within 3 inches of it.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. And
So,
then
yeah,
you have
very, very simple.
duty reclamation.
Duty of reclamation. So this one, if you are choosing a point, so if you control a point, I believe, or you contest a point, you can have the command point reroll for free. So this one, also in conjunction with the melee ability, helps you like
or the
do
accurate
rerolls
one
and
ability.
stuff.
Yeah.
Or the accurate one to help you get more rerolls to try to get a better shot. Because again, it's free, right?
Yeah. I don't know why you wouldn't ever spend this if you're trying to be aggressive, unless if you're run out of CP. I think that this team is heavily CP reliant.
Heavy.
Yeah.
Heavy.
Yeah.
I was almost at 0 every game or every round. And that's a nice thing, right? Because that's for defense too. So you can just kind of try to stay alive a little longer. This one, you can ignore the piercing roll on your tech priest. So that would be your underseer or your archaeologist. It just keeps them just a tad bit more alive. But against big monsters, it wasn't really going to affect it too much because you're killing me in melee anyways.
So this is team. This is probably more team dependent. I think I had piercing one crack weapons, but the thing is like, do you really want to spend your command point to ignore the piercing one on a crack when you really need it for some of these other ones, like damage reduction or something like that? Like I feel like that's difficult to want to spend unless you have an abundance. Maybe you're going second and you're getting extra command points and stuff, or it's going to save a model. Perhaps, it's probably really good against Meltas, but a Melt is probably going to cook you anyways. So who knows?
Yeah, that was kind of the issue with some of these plays is like, there's ones you want to take for sure. And then there was some I was experimenting with and realized like, this doesn't help me against this team, like at all. So, it just comes down to that.
Yeah. Okay. What about, because you didn't get to use a lot of these, like
This one I wanted to use against poison and stuff, like the exorcism, so that I could just remove it, but they died, so it never mattered. Right?
You're not
and
wrong.
and
You're not
you
wrong.
don't have abilities on the Tyranids team to be like Phobos, you can't activate for a certain amount of
Yeah,
activations.
I
So
felt
I
like
never really could use the system exorcism.
I feel like I almost brought stun grenades, instead of smokes. So like if you moved up a guy, I could counteract, throw stun grenades so that you couldn't actually like power transfer or something like that, Like I thought about it and I feel like this would have been great if I tried doing that. But what kind of sucks about this team is if you take stun grenades into them, you almost force them to start spending command points on system exorcism against certain operatives so that they can't functionally use their command points the way they want to. So perhaps stun grenades are really good and just undervalued. Maybe stun
I
and smoke.
Stun for sure, especially like if you get the teams that can take additional stun grenades. I think it's just Phobos, because you really want to use network counteract, right? So if you're stunning all the servitors, especially like the auto proxy servitor, who's not really going to be using too many of their abilities, they're going to be giving away a lot of them, or a combat servitor in the back. Oh, sorry, a gun servitor standing on advantage, which is mainly just going to be shooting the one time. Yeah, doing that to them really, really helps out. Like if you can reduce their AP. So that's one thing to watch out for. Teams that reduce AP.
Brood Brothers
Hmm.
are probably going to be a rough time for Battle Clade because they can just look at people and then you can take stun. You know, interesting. We also have remote access. This one is
This
really good.
Yeah, and I wish I would have made more use of it, because you can run up like the techno archaeologist, just get them really close to an objective, and then use this from 4 inches to do the objective. And then
Yeah.
like, cool, I secured the objective, go run to somewhere else now. Especially in a secure mission where you could be like, I am just within 4, do the ability with the him or the seer, and then you run away and you don't
Well,
even have to.
Well, what's amazing, G, right, is you could take a heavy barricade with this team. You could put it 4 inches away from your home objective, and you don't even have to be on your home objective. You could just use this to loot or something like that, right? And you could really deny teams that are trying to do like storm objectives or some other things, like remote access is quite a good ability. And it's definitely something that you could play with depending on the team that you're focusing on. Because you could just leave like your home objective like super open. It's like, hey, come touch it. I'm gonna kill you, and then I'm gonna tap it back to my side after I out activate you.
Yeah, like that's definitely one thing, especially just putting like the underseer who doesn't really want to move. Once he finds his 9-inch bubble, he's happy. Like just, find his 9-inch bubble and then just also try to be within 4 inches and just keep tapping stuff for free.
Yeah.
Of course, it does cost you 1 command point to use every time. So, but if it's like a mission like Secure, or one that you just have to control once and just own it once, this is perfect.
Yeah. Kind of wish Control was back in the game. How sad is that? I miss Control. Yeah.
In theory, everything will return at some point.
We have servile surrogacy. That is a crazy word. A crazy like sentence. Okay, what does this do? This is another lot of words. See,
this is
when there's a lot of
get
words,
down, Mr. President.
Oh, okay. Well, good.
Yeah, get down, Mr. President. If the servitor's within 3 inches, it jumps in the way.
I don't like to read a lot of words, I'm glad it's like, oh, get down, Mr. President. Okay.
Easy. I understand how that works.
Can we just make every get down, Mr. President, the same keyword, so we don't have to be like, this one is dark cultist sacrifice. This one is servile surrogacy. This one is Ding Dong McGee saves Ding Dong McGo. Like, come on, guys.
I mean, that's the beauty of our jargon here in Kill Team, is we created that, and like that's like 40K has uppy downies for their like when a thing comes up and down, So that's the thing in 40K, uppy downies. So you take your model, he's on the field, he goes up, and then he spawns down over here or something, off the board. Yeah, that's the uppy downies.
What was the thing you picked up? Secondly, I still don't understand.
This guy.
He has a ladder.
All right. Yeah, and this guy has a hula hoop.
There's 2 of them. All right, I like it.
They glow in the dark.
Okay, I like it.
Yeah.
Now, gee, I don't understand. What is this? What are we talking about here? What is this thing?
Oh well, I'm just referring to jargon used in games when the developers haven't made a keyword, right? So
Okay,
"get down, Mr. President" is the keyword to be like, "Yo, jump in the way,"
gotcha.
you know?
I like it.
Yeah.
So we have our techno archaeologist. Now, this guy likes playing techno music really loud at the grave sites of his enemies while they dig up dark Xenos tech. You know, gee, why don't you tell us about this guy and why he is so good? Do you agree? Firstly, do you agree that this guy is the second best leader in the game?
I definitely think so if you can position him right. I was still kind of figuring it out myself, but like using Seeker of Divine Arcana, the strategic gambit, lets him like move forward, fall back, or pick up stuff for free. So essentially, like you could just go to a marker or pick up something you need to get, and then like, cool, I have this now, and that happens before the battle, the round even begins. You know, like if you position yourself right, or to fall back and just be ready to shoot. Omni Scrambler removing obscuring is always really nice. Like he's just got a lot of abilities. He's a 3-up armor save, so he's relatively tanky. 9 wounds, you know, so that's decent. And his weapon is great.
His
The
weapon
devastating
is
3 weapon.
ridiculous.
It's great. The only thing that would make him better is if he hit on a 2.
You're not wrong. So, G, what is this gun, and what is 1-inch devastating 3 in your opinion? Because we've never seen this.
You know, range 8, 1-inch devastating 3. Range 8, 1-inch devastating 3, lethal 5. I think it's
So
a misprint, or it was.
I think it's old blast. It's an old.
I think it's supposed to be blast. Yeah.
Old blast with 3 devastating. You know, like, okay, that's ridiculous.
Right. If it is blast, like if you have 2 dudes next to each other, blast 1, like, all right, you could take out 2 dudes in one shot. This would be crazy.
Yeah,
Pretty reliably because you have lethal 5s.
Just bring back the blast keyword, guys. What are we doing?
Lethal 5. I hope he has it.
Lethal 5, crazy. And then we have Servo Arc Claw, 4 attacks, hitting on 4s, 3/4, severe shock. So you look at it and you're like, 4 attacks, hitting on 4s, 3/4, whatever. And then he has severe shock. Whoa, you know?
Like he guarantees a severe shock, and he's just okay in melee. Use his gun.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Fascinating. Now, let's see here. This guy is the Techno Servitor. He has this arm, right? We'll go through hobby after we talk about rules. You know, maybe I'll make multiple videos of it. You know, we'll have to see.
Yes. This is their medic,
Yes.
the techno medic or something. I think it's called.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. All right. So this guy's pretty cool. Now here's something to note. When he heals, he doesn't lose an APL.
Oh.
So that means he can transfer power. He could like heal, transfer power or something, and then like, you know, or sorry, reviving, not healing. When he revives somebody, he doesn't lose an APL. So it's like he doesn't have to risk losing his ability to do the power. And he heals really good. D3 plus 3. On small guys, most of the time it's just 2D3. So this one guaranteeing like 3 at least is pretty good. Which I like.
Yeah, and he's pretty much just, you know, the standard medic. Other than that,
don't really get him into combat because he's not that great for that.
We have
gun servitors. These guys are rad. So you got 2 options. In fact, you can only take 2 options, which is the arc rifle and the heavy bolter variant. As you can see, that my arc rifle was finished. The heavy bolter was not quite as finished, but it'll get there at some point because I do enjoy the team. They're good weapons. You need some big guns. This team has decent amount of piercing, and obviously you could see that with their big ones. They can only heavy dash though, so really I think the trick will be to find a good place for these guys to kind of have like either a vantage or a choke point and just kind of keep them there. In fact, if you've played Inquisition, you kind of know.
So our Patreon chat is telling us that the Electro Master also has Old Blast. There's one other person from what we were talking about earlier.
Dang, I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, but who plays that team anyways?
I think I know like only 3 these days. I don't think too many people are playing them.
Agreed. So, G, I definitely could tell that you like the heavy arc rifle more than you like the other one. We'll go into the colors you used in our hobby section, but yeah, I mean both these models are pretty strong, pretty good, you know.
Yeah, and their melee is like if you charge them, sure they're not hitting as effectively, but they're still pretty strong melee attacks. Like it's brutal. Like you don't want to deal with this because you can't really block it, and it's 4 or 5 damage.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. And you can give him a +1 attack, can't you?
Right, when you're on the objective. So like if you kind of sit him on there and have it, that's the one you want to control. Suddenly 4 attacks hitting on 4s is pretty good.
So next up we have the what is this guy? The combat servitor?
Yeah, so you get 3 of these guys. In fact, you could take a whole team of them if you wanted. And of course 2 gun servitors. But I would recommend you go with the combat servitors. I think the real play is to take the Melt-A-Gun and probably more Phosphoblasters. I just like making one of each because you can. And I think the Igniter, which is their flamethrower, is still, it's still a flamethrower. It's not bad.
Yeah,
it's never going to be a terrible weapon.
Right?
4 damage is pretty good. Hitting on 2s.
I agree. The models are pretty cool.
Yeah, though I think the Phosphor Blast always having severe is nice. Just like you're gonna at least do one of them. One of these shots can do 4 damage. So yeah. I think Phosphor Blaster is probably what you take instead of the Igniter.
Yeah, I mean the cool thing is you could take, like 4. I believe 3. Is it 3 of the igniters? So you could technically take. Dude, I think flamers are underrated, yo. That's what I think.
I think you can take one of the special. I think the phosphor is the only one you can take multiple. I can't remember off the top of my head.
I have the card here.
There you go. If you want to double check that for me, just to make sure so that I don't get that wrong. But I believe it's the phosphor blaster you could take multiples of.
Other than the combat servitor operatives, your kill team can only include each combat operative above once. You cannot select a combat servitor with a Melt-A-Gun more than once, and you cannot select one with the Incend Igniter more than 3 times.
So, you can take it all 3. Okay, so you could go hardcore.
3 igniters, or you could take, I guess the other guy, right? You could take a bunch of the Phosphor Blaster dudes. You could.
Yeah, I still think the honestly, either taking one of each or taking multiple phosphors and then the Melta is probably the way to go. You could probably find an argument to use all flamers, but I don't want to get too close each time.
Agreed.
And the Phosphor Blaster just gives you that little bit of like range, and then the Igniter can be like, I'm not close enough yet, so I can move, and then I can do the network counteract for somebody else who has range,
Well, the reason why I like the flamers is that's a 4/4 flamer. It's not a 3/3.
That's true. It's a very strong flamer, and an ITD with Torrent 1, you're getting lethal 5s as well. Like there definitely is a play for taking 3 flamers.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's an argument to be said.
Next up, we have the Breacher Servitor. Gee, I couldn't help but notice in our battle, you kind of moved the guy up, and then you didn't really use him as much. You want to explain, like, what do you think this model is going to have good uses in? What do you think? What do you think about this guy, this homie?
So in our battle, I was trying to psych you out because if I made a whole one, you'd get to move through it, and like I wanted you not to kind of do that, and then I'm just going to have him do the thing later and disappear. Right? That was going to be my play. That was going to be the ultimate decision.
I like it.
So but otherwise, this guy, you actually do want to get him real close because his weapons are very short range.
He did a lot of damage in that game. Yeah.
He does a lot of damage, and he hits on 3s, which is big, right? That's one of the big things. Is this one of your few operatives is hitting on 3s with such a weapon? It doesn't have devastating. It doesn't matter. You have piercing too. So
yeah, it's like a
you're
mini.
Just gonna rip through it.
It's like a mini Melt-A-Gun. And what's interesting about this team is that if you set it up correctly, technically you could get. Technically, you could go like. Get 4 AP2 shots off in a game. You could like shoot with this guy, move him, counteract with him, get another shot off, and then you can move your Melta, get a shot, and then get then do another one, or Melta a guy, then move and shoot it and shoot again on his actual real turn, right?
Right.
I think this team technically has the most AP2 in one round period
of shoot. In theory, yes, with network counteract, you can totally make that happen. You do have to be within 2 inches for one of the guys, and Melta is Melta range, so it's a little harder to pull off, which is why I think they were okay with letting that rule slide, because 2 inches is very dangerous if you don't kill your target. So,
You're not wrong.
like,
You're
yeah,
not
so
wrong.
it's
They're
a
like,
great guy, and of course he can breach the hole. He makes a hole just like the Breaker Boys with their break stuff rule. They make a hole.
mhm.
The other breacher boy, the actual breacher boy with his big old break the wall stick.
Yeah, and then we
I like
have,
those rules.
yeah,
Oh, and then the auto proxy servitor. So this guy, he removes saturate as long as he can see a model, which is always nice. And he has the ability to have seek light, and they can't be obscured, which is really really good. Like, right, more teams need to have an ability to remove obscuring. And even though
yep,
obscuring isn't as strong as it used to be, it's still annoying. It's almost always the wrong answer to shoot at someone who's obscuring, unless you have 5 or more attack dice. Then you're more likely to succeed. Otherwise, it's usually a trap to fire obscuring. So this guy helps you get through that trap, especially because this team is going to be shooting a lot, and he's a perfect candidate to just find a good spot to look at things and be your bubble, and then just turn off saturate, and then turn off obscuring, and then network counteract with somebody else.
yeah. I think
Yeah,
he
I
has
like
lethal
it.
5 and shock too. The taser goads are
So
that came into
he can
play
kind of
in
hold
our
his
game
own.
too. Yeah. Didn't you roll like 4 crits in our battle report? Like with that guy, you're like, oh my gosh, 4 crits.
Yeah, through lethal 5s.
Yeah, it's
And then I
crazy.
rolled real ones through later. But
Yeah,
yeah, it's fun. Now this guy, the Underseer, who's your second leader, your
the
second
blimp
support
guy,
leader.
the blimp guy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
pointy balloon man. Um, don't get him into combat. Do not do that. He's not very strong in combat, but make sure he's around to do all his support abilities. See, everything there is support, so that it's increased by 3.
comms
Give
device
your
was made for this team. My
literally
goodness.
made for this team. Finally, a use for it. It's so useful. I was getting the other ploy off earlier, the strategic ploy, just getting accurate 1 all the time, and then
Mhm.
mix it with when you're on top of advantage, go for accurate 2. Like,
Yeah,
just it's crazy.
yeah,
Like, it's such a good one, and he lets you counteract for free, which is really nice. He can let one guy do the network counteract for free, which is awesome. So you can be just a bit more aggressive.
yeah. And he has
Um,
3 APL, so it makes it even
yes,
easier to be like, hey,
yeah,
you get to do it for free, and I'm going to go do something else, and I'm going to tap
right,
a point or something. Keep
right,
him
exactly.
keep him behind a heavy barricade with the thing so that you can spend the 1 AP to go up and touch something and also give a 9-inch bubble. This guy is like one of your core pieces in all, and you used him just like
Yeah,
that too.
yeah, you don't want to lose this guy or the auto proxy too early, because they're going to enable a lot of your abilities. So if you lose one, hopefully it's not this guy. Hopefully it's the auto proxy.
Yeah.
Um, just because you really do benefit from having those abilities, like, a lot. Like, you really do need them.
Yeah. So, G, let's do this, and then we'll move on to some hobby content and
Absolutely.
talk to us about making the hobbies and stuff like that. So we're going to talk over their faction equipment. G, what does neurocyclic reserve cells do?
So you get a D3 amount of times that you're allowed to do a network counteract for free, but this network counteract, you cannot move. You can, so you cannot fight or shoot. Sorry. So basically, you're going to use this when, let's say, you shot and then you moved, and then you go, I'm going to use this for free, and I'm going to tap this point.
Yeah.
That's mainly where you're going to use this, and
Okay.
this lets you also play just a little more aggressive by moving forward.
Do you take this every time?
I want to say yes. The more now that I've been playing with them, like, just
Yep.
seeing it, the more I was thinking, like, oh, I could have done this move in hindsight, and then I could have totally used my reserve cells, but I just forgot, because there's just a lot of things to remember.
That's fair. That's fair.
And
Yeah.
I'm a very much
There's
like KISS player, I keep it simple.
me too. I like to keep it simple too. But not everyone likes to keep things simple.
Some people got the brain capacity, they installed mechanical parts in their brains, so they're like,
Mhm.
I know everything.
Or they're like ancient elves that are like, oh, you think this game was hard? Well, I played Necromunda in 2nd edition. And let me tell you what, there used to be these dreadnoughts that you used to have to, when the dreadnoughts first came out, you used to have to kill different parts of them because then, you know what I mean? And that's all
Exactly.
real
Those are the big
stories.
brain players.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
I'm not there. I'm a medium brain. Just give me that.
That's fair. So this
Uh,
one's called electromantic capacitors. All right. What does
yes,
this one do?
you get severe on your weapons, which is always nice. Oh, sorry, they have the shock rule.
Okay.
And when it's retaliating, it has severe. So it's because again, you're going to be doing a lot of retaliating because you don't want to necessarily fight in combat yourself. So this is a good way to just get severe, and then you have shock. It's a nice way to trigger it. It's a defensive ability for sure.
So you take this into like melee teams and stuff.
Absolutely, like go into the melee teams for sure.
Okay.
Absolutely. Right. Yeah, that's where I would place this one.
Next up, we have covert guises.
All right, this one's pretty fun. So, the spark notes. If you don't do any abilities such as shooting or actions, for the most part, it'll say specifically here, then all your guys are secretly concealed, so they're robotic parts. So we like to assume that they're switching positions, right? So the way this works is your regular servitors, not your gun servitors, can switch places with each other, and then after your gun servitors can switch places with the other gun servitor. So it's kind of like
that's as long as they don't shoot or they use any of their own special abilities, right?
Exactly. So it's like they have actually like you thought I had this gun, but secretly it was this gun the whole time because I'm a robot, so I can transform it. You know?
I feel like this is like the ultimate Giga Chad brain move where you're like, oh yeah, this is actually really Giga brain. And you're like, it's like, why'd you take it? Like, why couldn't you just tell me your melt is over here? You know, like, all right, that's weird. I think that's probably really good if you're trying to get a really sneaky, like network counteract Melta off, where you could like move your Melta from like a really safe position to a really forward position, you know, or something like that, in case if like that's something you're trying to do. This one probably takes a lot of hard positioning and a lot of trying in order to get right, and maybe it's only good into certain things. I have no idea.
Yeah, when I look at this one, I think it's generally a fun rule to have, but it's probably good against teams that are also trying to do the same thing where they're going to reposition and switch out. So they think they're faking you out, but you're going to fake them out. It's a good counter fake, and is also good against, like you mentioned, like a team that you know you can run up a guy and they're like, that's not a threat, but then he becomes a threat because he transforms. Like that's also a really good thing, but you have to kind of know ahead of the game what that enemy team generally wants to do, so that you know where to counter out with this. But you probably don't need to take covert guises every time. I just like it because I think it's fun.
I think this is situational, and it's probably good in like certain matchups, but maybe not every matchup. That's my first thought on it. But maybe it is just hidden OP, and we just like our first impression's wrong, you know, or maybe it's awful. Think dog water is what the kids say these days.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I always get covert guises and concealed apparatus backwards. So the concealed apparatus was the one we just talked about.
Oh, okay. So that one's the one that you can switch.
That one was the one. Yeah, we switched. I'm sorry. I get those ones all the time because they kind of sound the same. Covert guises let you do repositions.
Oh, this lets you do repositions?
Yeah.
A free reposition action, but you must end that move wholly within 3 inches of your drop zone. Okay, so is this turning point 1 or turning point 2? Is this like the old vet guard thing? No way.
Yeah, first turning point.
First turning point, you get a bunch of free dashes. Why do these people get this and vet guard? I'm not going to be mad. I'm not going to be mad.
This is okay.
I'm not mad.
I was getting this confused because the name covert guises and concealed apparatus is kind of like, they sort of are the same.
So covert guises used to work like this in the last edition, right?
Mm-hmm.
Used to but it was for Chaos Cult. So did Chaos Cult just become Battle Clade? I don't know. You tell me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's useful if you want to be like a little more aggressive and ahead, but I took the equipment thinking like, oh, maybe I'll use this, and then I realized I actually don't want to get too close to you because you're gonna like wreck me. So I'm gonna not use this, and then I didn't.
Fair. That's fair.
Yeah, those little robots there, they're fun.
Let's move into the hobby section, right?
Yeah.
So we got a bunch of homies here. You know, the lighting isn't as good on this side of the table. I apologize, G. I'm making your models not look as pretty as they actually are.
That's okay. They're going to get finished, polished up.
Yeah. So these guys, okay. So putting them together, how were they being put together? Like as a kit?
You know, surprisingly easy. The worst part was on their legs. There's this long piece of flash, and you kind of have to like really clean it up. So I was using my 1,000, or sorry, my 400, my 1,000, my 3,000 grit just to make sure, and then a polisher to make sure it was like line clean. And I still didn't get it all. Like I noticed like I missed a little bit, but that's okay. But otherwise, it's a very simple kit to put together. The hardest guys are probably the gun servitors, just
So
because
was it all the flashing bad over all the models, or was it only on their legs?
it was just on the legs
Okay.
and that wasn't like, that's not even that bad of a deal. Like the gun servitors were a little more annoying because you had to match up where like the cable connects, and the same thing with the techno archaeologist. But that was it. That wasn't even like, that's not even technically that hard, you know?
Yeah. Now,
Yeah. So like that was pretty simple.
yeah, I really like what you did, with the backpacks and stuff like that too. Like I really enjoyed a lot of the small details that you did on a lot of these small models, right? Um, what silvers did you use? Because the silver is very pretty. It's a very pretty silver.
So I am a big fan of Pro Acryl Silver, the dark silver and their light silver. I think it's very bright, and although I also really enjoy Lead Belcher as a paint, the one thing I don't love about Lead Belcher is it doesn't run as smooth, in my opinion, where the Pro Acryl one does. But the Pro Acryl one, at least in my use, has been known to kind of like chunk up a little faster, which means I have to use it sooner before it dries up. So I either use a small amount, or I'm going through all the silvers right away to make sure I get everything. And that's how you get like this really bright color, which I enjoy. You know.
I do too. Now, what color red did you use? Because it's a really bright and vibrant red that is really difficult to paint.
Yes. So this is gonna be a mix of two colors. You use burnt red, also from Pro Acryl.
I love burnt red.
They don't sponsor us, by the way. I like some of their paints. Use burnt red to get your initial red on there, and then I used Pyral Bright Red, I think is what it's called, if I remember the top of my head, to further get this reddish orange color. And because the undertone is already red, and you think because red's a little more transparent, so this helps the under red, the darker parts, kind of fill in some of the recesses, and you get this like nice effect. And then I used everybody's favorite highlight for red, Wild Rider Red.
Did you really? Okay.
I love Wild Rider Red.
I don't use Wild Rider Red anymore. I use I use a different monument color. I use what's her name? What's her name's special paint range?
Louise Sugden's Rogue Hobbies, the orange red, which
yeah, that's what I use.
I usually use that as well. When I'm taking it to a different kind of color scheme, but I wanted more red in there instead of the orange. Even though the Wild Rider is still kind of orange, but I felt like the Wild Rider helps it pop out just a bit more, so I went with that color instead.
Not to this colorblind guy. It is red.
That's true. That's true. That is true. Yeah, there is the highlights on this one. It's a little more orangey. For those who can see it, it kind of matches the orange in the background what's spinning.
So,
but yeah, I liked them.
How'd you do the plasma effects on these guys? And then I want to talk to you about your freehand and your cloaks.
Yes. So plasma effects, it was pretty simple. What I do is I start with white. I'll paint white over that. There's more difficult methods to do it, but because of the time crunch, I went with an easier option, which is to use a thin down Baharoth blue, so that it can just kind of like I use the capillary method where you just put it in and it fills in all the holes, and then I let that dry.
Did you use medium or did you use a flow improver?
Water.
Just water. Okay. Yeah.
Just water. Baharoth blue is already pretty flowy. It was one of their not technical paints, it's a layer paint, I believe, but it has qualities that flow because it was designed for plasma.
Yeah, it has some fluorescence to it.
Yeah, something in there that they use, and it makes it run smoother. So you use that, and then I use a little bit of white near the bottom to kind of get the glow, and then I make the ribs a little darker so that it really shows in between them. Like if you look near the bottom of the guns, you can see more of the white. And then of course you just make like little dots, so it helps with the jump
white
of the
dots
contrast.
on the corners, right?
Yeah, exactly. So like it just helps with it. Yeah, because the arcs aren't supposed to have plasma, but I think it looks cooler when it has like a glowing effect. Yeah, and I thought blue works well in this color scheme.
Yeah. So now this white color that you did is a relative hard color to pull off and look good, which you did. and then you did some freehand, which would have been a pain in the ass because it is red. It's not, like red's hard to cover and it's hard to cover over. So what did you use for how did you get the cloak so smooth in your transitions?
So what we did was after I had sprayed it down, I took my airbrush and I took what's the color from Pro Krill? It's one of the bone.
Is that
It's one of the
warm
signature
bone?
series. Yeah,
Warm
just
white?
bone.
Okay.
Well, we used bone to get the color on, and then after I used ivory. And by the way, their ivory is chunky, like
Yeah.
chunky. Like I'm eating chunky salsa. So I had to thin the head. Like this was that guy probably has about like I don't know 10 coats on him, just going like gently down to make sure it like it didn't chalk up, and you just had to leave it. I spent just one whole day was just spent on him alone. Like a
Jeez.
lot of these other guys were done on multiple days to try to, or one day to get multiple guys, but he took a long time, which is why I couldn't get this team done as quickly as I'd like. Um, and the freehand is just red, and there were times where I messed up on the red, and I had to fix it. Oh, yeah. Oh my god, is it a pain in the butt to cover because it just
Yeah.
keeps turning pink? So you
At
have to
least it
just
wasn't
keep working
black.
at it. Yeah, thank God.
Yeah.
But red is also pretty strong on the color, so like it covers it really well too. So as long as I went gently, I didn't really make a mistake at the bottom. It was mostly on his hood. That's where it was the hardest. As
Yeah.
you can kind of see, I rushed the underseers a bit, and that's where his red isn't as good. So I'm probably
Mhm.
going to go back to the underseer at some point and fix his head.
Yeah. This guy right here.
Yeah.
I'll throw
Yep.
him
I
in.
just wanted him to have a third color for the battle report.
Yeah.
So his isn't as nice, but he's also a little more tethered. So I was like, it's okay if it's a little more damaged, but I'll probably go back and fix it later.
Yeah, very, very pretty color scheme, G. I'm very, impressed by the amount of color that you're able to put into a team that's usually so dreary, And a lot of your little symbols and stuff you did, the black and white, is also very pretty, including the freehand, because you don't see a lot of freehand these days, right? Um, yeah, very nice. Good job. Very good job.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, yeah. It's
Metallica color scheme for anybody looking to do it.
almost like you're professional, almost.
I know, right?
So
I'm working on some breachers right now that I'm never going to paint my own.
are you
Paint somebody else's
are you painting somebody else's breachers?
Yeah, I'm painting somebody else's breachers.
Oh my gosh!
I'll
Is this
never
for
paint
Black
my
Knight?
own.
My goodness gracious!
I'll never paint my own.
Until
That
they
joke is from,
re-release them.
God,
Until they re-release the team, and then I choose the other team just so that you have to paint them.
Okay, you're gonna
Be
paint
like,
the crew.
all right,
Okay,
G, I'm gonna paint, the Slanesh Legionary team. Ha ha ha! You have to paint. You're like, Dakotah. I always get the bad paint jobs. I'm like, well, you remember that one time I painted both teams? There's no excuse for you. Okay. Sorry.
yeah, that's true. That was you guys. That was rough.
Yeah, I think
That was a
Sai
rough
was
time.
supposed to help paint it, and
She got busy.
she got busy,
Now,
and then I ended up painting both.
I
And
want
then
to
you
point
helped me
out
at the end.
I love the transitions on this guy. By the way, like
You
the skin
know,
transitions and the muscle is cool.
airbrush helps. Airbrush helps. It's airbrush and a lot of variations and layers. Let me tell you guys how I did this paint scheme real quick. I took a lot of inspiration from the Feral Painter on YouTube, but I changed a few little bits and bobs. If you guys want like an in-depth paint review on how I did it, like step by step, let us know in the comments if you've made it this far in the video, right? It is something that we are both actively looking into, is to make more painting videos. It is something that we really, really, really enjoy, especially this guy. I also really like making terrain. So I don't want to just do just rules all the time, or, hey, what do you think about this? I want to make more hobby related content. So,
Yeah, that stuff's fun.
that and Hobby Highlander, I got to sit down, I got to edit it, but it's going to have to wait until after AVTT. Just is what it is. So
It will come out eventually, promise.
it will. So we have the Tyranid Prime. I used trench coat brown color forge, and I sprayed them.
How'd you like Color Forge, by the way?
It was
Like,
nice.
how'd it work?
It was nice. It was colorful, worked, covered well. I would say that it wasn't as thin as I find like some of the thinnest primers is like GW White Scar, Gray Seer, and Wraithbone, but they have like a really like noxious smell. You know, they have this
Oh, they do.
weird,
Yeah, this
they have a
smell awful.
weird smell to them, you know, and you're like, and then they smell for like 4 or 5 hours, and you're like, ugh.
Easy. You know, you just gotta
But
leave them.
they are a really good primer. I really like them. But I used Color Forge. It smelled like every other spray paint. Able to start painting on them in like 20 minutes. Fantastic. I think I let them. I sprayed probably 20 minutes later. I did a zenithal of Wraithbone. But guess what? I didn't really like it. It was way too contrasty between the two. This is what the guy on the Feral Painter does. He does that. I would still suggest doing that because the zenithal from the lighter can, even though I go in with an airbrush afterwards with my favorite paint, which is AK Light Earth. I love the color. I think it's beautiful. I use it on any scheme and every scheme that I can. And if you don't own an airbrush, you can use a dry brush and get the same effect. But the spray paint can from over the top gives a nice mottled effect because there's so much particulates that cover your model. It goes like up underneath certain areas. It's not just a pure like zenithal, like it's spray. Whenever you whenever you, I'm talking too much. Whenever you zenithal paint something, right, with a spray paint can, a lot of the times it goes everywhere. It's not as controlled as an airbrush. So I then didn't like it as much. So I went back with my favorite color, AK Light Earth, right? Through an airbrush, and I sprayed a lot more. It wasn't just top down. This one I did like 75-degree angle. I got a lot of other colors, but I left that darkness underneath. But I left some of the particulates in other places because I don't want the skin just to be one color. I want skin to look more organic, right? So from there, I took Magos Purple and I put it in all of the joints through an airbrush, but you can also use it layered, watered down with contrast paint, and you can just layer it in really smooth. And wherever you move your brush to, right, that's where the majority of your pigment's going to lay. So then you just remove it. But I want to hit not just the joint, right? I want to hit the areas around it, because when we think of Tyranids grow so fast, right? Their joints are going to be inflamed. Their joints are going to be hurting. Their joints are going to be, they're not just some like beautifully like put together. They're not the Predator, right?
Right.
Nice callback, Dakotah. Like I think that they grow really fast and they're there to attack, and then they're moving a lot, That's kind of how I think about them. So that's the way that I want to do it. So I put the Magos Purple in, and then I did a lot of Caribou Crimson to kind of darken some of those areas. And I did it in a little less area. And then I used a paint that I've never seen before, and the Feral Painter turned me onto it. And I don't know what color it is because I'm colorblind. If you know what color it is, you should tell me. I think Giacomo has a guess, but it is the something Rage shade from GW. It's a shade. It's like a dark gray purple wash. It's like rage, something Rage shade. So what I did with that one is I went into the actual crevices, into like the actual joints, and I painted that to darken those up, and like in the little like hand bits. And then I went back with Magos Purple and I put it in all the little skin rips and stuff. From there, I have a lot of some color on the model, and the model will be way more vibrant than he currently is, right? I also did it on some of the other bits and bobs. Finally, you then black out the entire carapace with the best black known to man, and that is AK Black, Intense Color Black. By far, we've done all the testing in our Hobby Highlander series. It is the best black. It covers in one coat. It's beautiful. It's matte. It covers well. It is absolutely by far the best. So I did that. Go ahead, G.
It is very good. Like I 100% agree. It's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard to not agree.
Yeah, it was like the episode was so anticlimactic because it was just like, yeah, this is just the best. It's like, okay, let's talk more about second and third place because they were closer compared to this one. This one is just by far the best, right? So the next two colors that I dry brushed, smoke AK smoke black, and then I dry brushed AK ash black or ash gray, right? From there, you can either use a streaking grime that you enjoy, right? You can use a streaking grime. I think I used AK streaking grime, or you can use goons grime. You can use any kind of like a streaking grime type thing. Put it over all the model, and then I used a blue. Firstly, I sprayed it all gloss. Then I used the enamel. Then I wiped it off with a blue shop towel, like one of those. What is that called? It's like a blue. It's just a blue shop. It's blue shop towel. It's like a paper towel, but it's blue. You know, easy. From there, you kind of still see some settling of the enamel. And for me, I like enamels, but I don't like enamels that much. So I wanted to go back in and re-highlight the skin. Right. I forgot to talk about the veins. Well, I guess you'll have to check out our painting tutorial on how to do that. But I went through with AK light earth again, and then I added a little bit of AK ice yellow into it. You could use any ice yellow. Vallejo is a great ice yellow. You could use Dorn yellow. You could use all different kinds of things. You add it in a little bit, do a little bit of extra, little tiny bit of highlighting. I like to highlight with striations on these kind of guys, and I did like lots and lots and lots of striations all over the model. And then I went back and I re-highlighted all of the carapace with those same colors in that same striation method, but I went vertical instead of lateral, right? And then finally, the very final step is to go back in with AK black, reinforce the shadows at the top of everything, and then use that black in order to create extra chips in your carapace. And also, they have a lot of divots and cuts in the carapace, so you can re-black those out, and you can kind of make a lot of your lines at the top more jagged. And if you kind of went a little bit too far, you get to reintroduce shadows in all of the areas on the back of the carapace. For the claws, you kind of do the same thing, and you just kind of do a lot of just chipping, highlighting along the very, very tips of the claws to make them look really dangerous. But really, this is one of the very few. This set of models, I use the fewest paints I have in a very long time. It's only 15 colors, and that includes all of the ground, all the colors that I painted on the ground. So the fact that this model only took 15 colors when I think my veteran guard have like 38 or 39 colors, right? I'm quite proud of, you know?
Yeah, it looks great.
Yeah, so that's how I painted them, you know? The hobby about this team, a lot more difficult than you would expect with only 5 models. There is 115 parts to this team. 115. That's a lot.
That is quite a lot.
Yeah, so there's a lot of cleanup, but it wasn't bad flashing. It's just because the pieces are large, and it's like, and there's 115 pieces. You know, like the tail comes separately from the base. The base comes separately from the body. The body is in 2 or 3 pieces. And then there's 6 arms, and then there's a head. You know, and it's like, all right, well, there's literally like 20 pieces of model. You know, like that's a lot. Not bad. Just took a lot longer than I was expecting. Hobby wise, putting them together. So I wouldn't expect to put them together in a full night unless if you have quite some time dedicated, maybe like 6 hours or so, maybe not 6, maybe like 4 hours. It probably takes to put all of them together, 4 or 5, maybe like an hour a model, if you're trying to actually remove all the flashing and stuff. And if you're trying to go super crazy with Giacomo's, like, you know, sanding style, right? That's also, you know, a lot of extra time that I didn't do. I just used the old razor blade, you know? I use razor blade, and then I use Tamiya extra thin. You know, I'm like, oh, it's a little bit too much Tamiya extra thin. Okay, I'll let that dry, and oh, look, we're cooking with gas. So, oh, somebody in our chat said it's Tagore Rage Shade. That's the one. Yeah, it's a very
It's
pretty,
a very
weird
pretty
color.
indeed.
It's a weird color though. Gee, what else would you use Tagore Rage Shade on?
Honestly, I don't really know. I mean, that makes sense. And the color doesn't even sound like it'd be like a purple.
It doesn't.
It's just like
Yeah.
rage shade. Okay, what is rage shade?
Yeah, what is Rage Shade? You know, um, this guy right here, I did a lot more like from underneath. You know, like a lot of this, a lot of like the EWEs and stuff. I kind of shot from underneath. This team will benefit quite a lot from you not gluing them to the base. If you glue them to the base too soon, a lot of the armor plates are hard to get to. If you glue on the arms or the head, some of the pieces are hard to get to. This team will benefit a lot from sub-assembly. I did not sub-assembly them. Some of the things were very difficult to get to, and I was like, when I painted them, I didn't glue them to the bases so I could get underneath everything. And that's one thing I did do, and that was a really good thing I did do. Otherwise, there would be unpainted things on models, which I dislike for myself. But yeah, you know, I think that rounds us out with with our hobby talk. We'll go quickly about the meta, and then we'll end the video because we've been doing this for quite some time now. G,
Quite some time.
what do you think about these teams and how they're going to shake up the meta? Do you think that these teams are going to overthrow sanctifiers and goremongers and become, you know, the next thing, or what are we thinking?
I don't necessarily see the Tyranids doing that just yet because they rely so much on their tunnels. Much like Aquilons, until they get an ability where, like, if they jump off of Vantage or if they jump over cover, they also get this ability. Something like that. That'll help them just get a little more. Because otherwise, you could just sort of play. You do your best to try to play around the tunnel.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't see them beating out hordes who can also take loot faster than them. I want to say I'll see them like solidly in like that B tier where they're still elite, so they're very strong and they can, you know, they'll beat someone up, kind of like Angels of Death kind of thing going on. Now, when we look at Battle Clade, I think in the hands of a big brain, smart man, smart girl, smart whoever, they will figure it out, and they will know how to use their abilities almost down to like a formula on maps, right? And they can see where they got to put guys, and they can start doing their remote access, their exorcism abilities, all their network counteracts, and they have the potential to be an A tier and could push into the rest. I still think Sanctifiers is pretty strong. What do you think?
Yeah, I think they're not gonna dethrone Sanctifiers. I think Battle Clade could, like you said. I agree with you. I think Tyranids have the possibility to be really, really, really strong and good. I just don't know if, like, Tyranids could be like low S tier, maybe. I don't think they're S tier. Maybe like A tier. I think they're definitely A for sure. Really strong stat check team, you know.
Yeah.
They might get a better win percentage than like AOD, just because they're like Angels of Death, but have a lot more play. They can keep their models safer. I don't think they're ever gonna like max out score a game unless if you're taking like champion or overrun. So it's possible that they do really well in a long form tournament because like 8 or 9 rounds, 7 rounds, I think they might do pretty well. I think playing at your local club, these guys are going to be a blast. You and your friends will have a lot of fun. There's not a lot to remember. There is a lot to remember, but it's not a lot, if that makes any sense. It's not, definitely nowhere near Battle Clade. Battle Clade, I think, is so so good, but they have that same problem that every AdMech team does, where they're too hard to pilot for the majority of people. So we'll see Battle Clade. I think we're going to see Battle Clade in the 40s of win rates, because I think there's going to be a lot of people who are really bad with the team, but I think Battle Clade will win tournaments. I think that they definitely have some counters in the meta, and then if they run into the wrong team at the wrong time and somebody's playing the wrong team, you know, like the stronger and faster, like Brood Brothers are into them, they could like really struggle. You know, Brood Brothers are just ridiculous. So you know, I think that Battle Clade's probably S tier, maybe low S tier, or mid A tier as well. You know, just from my first impression, I think they are. I think both teams are going to shake up the meta quite a bit, especially with like a lot of first edition teams being difficult, right? Yeah. What do you think, G?
Besides Battle Clade, I don't necessarily think Tyranids are going to overtake the meta right now. They're kind of like, they're not, I don't want to say they're better or worse than Angels of Death, but they're like an Angels of Death team. Like this would actually be a really cool box if they had made you know, Raveners versus Angels of Death.
Raveners, Giacomo, Raveners versus Deathwatch.
That would have also been a dope box. Like, yeah, that would have been an amazing box.
I know how to pull on your heartstrings, Giacomo.
I love Deathwatch. Yeah, see, that would have been a cool box for me. Like, I'd have been all over that, you know.
Yeah.
Like, I'm still all over this because the Tyranids are still cool, and the Tyranid terrain is cool. But I don't see them shaking up the meta. I see Battle Clade being this big technical skill thing that other players won't quite know, and then they'll break them because of it. But Sanctifiers I still think are better. In fact, I actually still think Goremongers are still pretty good into them. Because
Pathfinders will probably be good into them too.
Yeah.
Because they do 4 or 5 damage, you know, just 2 hits go through and a Battle Clade's dead, you know?
Yeah, that's big.
Yeah.
Bigger than you think, you know?
And you could GA2 and possibly nuke 2 dudes off the table. Possibly, you know, with bonded or something like that if you miss position. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely going to be some counterplay to these guys, to both teams. I definitely don't think that they're like nearly going to shake up the meta like the last box did. But, you know, G, coming down to the question of the video that we answer at the very end, like 2 hours in, right? Is the box worth $330 to buy it on eBay? I think I lost Giacomo right when he asked the question. I don't think this box is worth $330. I think this box is worth 170 when the box first came out, you know. You get the Hormagaunts, you get the terrain, you get both teams. I think it's 100% worth it, but we've seen what a lot of the scalpers are doing right now, or people who got the box and are trying to make a quick flip on it. You know, a lot of the 40K players are picking up. A lot of the 40K players are picking up the Ravagers and stuff, Raveners. You know, what's crazy is Saya was telling me that somebody did a poll on these guys, and this box is more wanted by the majority of 40K players than any other Kill Team box so far. I think Sai was telling me that 14% of all 40K players who answered a specific poll, which is greater than Hivestorm, greater than any of the other ones so far, has said that they want this box. So I think that's one reason why this box is driving up the price so high. And for me, I really want another Tyranid. And I don't want to have to wait 6 months to get it. And I might have to wait 6 months, and it's really frustrating. But I'm not going to spend $330 to buy this box.
Right, and on top of that, like it's just so much money for it, right? Like because you're paying for all those extra models you may not necessarily want. Like You may not want the Hormagaunts. You don't necessarily need them. You just want the other two teams, right? And maybe you don't want the terrain. It's just like it's very expensive for that. Outside of Hivestorm, they've never included this much terrain. They've always just had like a little bit.
The terrain is
So
awesome. I really like it.
It is. Yeah, it's actually very cool for those people who like to play very narrative boards.
The terrain has rules, and there's a bunch of Tyranid NPO operative rules in there. It's awesome.
What's your favorite? Like honestly, if that's what you're,
what's your favorite Tyranid terrain piece?
The two big things coming up off the ground, the big old spires. I like the spires a lot. And then and then that one like big brain looking thing that's like the egg sacs or something. Those are cool.
Yeah, I have a different name for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but also like we definitely want to thank Games Workshop for sending this box early to us so we could get a really in-depth review, get a great time with the team, figure out how to paint all the models, you know. Yeah, I had a blast not only playing this team, but I know that you've said that you want to get the Tyranids now. What are you going to paint your Tyranids like?
I've downloaded a color scheme already. Actually, I looked up exotic snake colors and found one. Yeah, let me see. It should come up in the first page. Exotic, if you look up like, or I think I did exotic snake colors or colorful snake schemes, one of the two. Okay. And there's a really cool green blue one I liked.
There's a lot of green blue ones, Giacomo.
I'm sure there is.
Is it AI generated or is it real?
No, these are all real ones. These are like a rare captures of them in like the forests and in the jungles. So I was like, and so I was like, that could be very fun.
Okay, so you're gonna do like a green blue, like realistic dino kind of looking kind. Do you know what it's called? Is it called a white-lipped island pit viper? Is that what it's called?
I have no idea. It was off like a nature website that was explaining them, and it didn't mention the name. It just had the picture. So I was like, well, this is the only one like it. So
that's a really
no, not like that, but that one is pretty badass though.
All right,
that one is badass.
I tried.
That's a really cool one for anyone who wants to do blue and white. You know, give it like that snow feel. Because I figured like if Tyranids are eating things, they're in my eyes they're turning into the colors.
Is that not green and blue green?
No, that's blue and white.
Okay. Whoops. All right.
It's all good, but yeah. Yeah, and because generally like frogs kind of turn into colors because of the toxins they eat or the plants that give them toxins. So I figured like, well, I guess Tyranids could probably have that same rule, right? Whatever they're eating is giving them colors. So I figured I'd go with that kind of scheme.
They have a rule called the it's called something camouflaged chromatospore camouflage. They have that.
Right, which makes sense. Yeah, there you go. See?
Yeah, this is just how you paint them, you know? Chromatospore.
Yeah, they're chromatospore. Yeah.
Good luck saying that 5 times fast.
how tall is the prime? What is that, at least like a 5-inch model?
Too tall. So the two models that don't fit under the two models that do not fit under the Volcus strongholds are these two models. So it is this model is actually just slightly taller because of the way his claw is. And this model, they're about 3 inches and 3 1/8 or 3 1/4 up to a point. And heaven forbid you put them on, heaven forbid you put these dudes on cork or something like that and do some kind of fancy base, they're going to be even taller, right? So like you really have to be aware where you're placing them in the kill team, in the kill zone, right? Because they won't fit everywhere, you know?
Gotcha.
Yeah, which is interesting, right? Here, I'm going to show you a nice top-down view of Venom Man. Sorry,
this guy.
So G, do you want to do any shout-outs at the end of this video?
Yeah, so you can join the conversation by leaving a comment in the comment section or in our Discord channel, which is the Squad Games Discord. Dakota and I and a bunch of other people are usually very active there. So if you have a question, most people will answer it. Or whether you want to just show off some of your paint schemes, what are you going to paint your Battle Clade? What are you going to paint your Raveners like? Let us know there. We want to thank all the patrons who let us do what we do. Those who are currently listening right now live, because we like to do the live version of this for them as well. And then it'll release usually the next day for everybody else. And if you can't support us there, there's nothing wrong with just watching us on YouTube or giving us a review on the podcast thing you're listening to, whether that's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you're getting your podcasts, because that always helps us be found. And being found is always important. And if you want to see us live and you're generally in the SoCal area or usually around it, sometimes we're in Nevada as well. You can come to our tournaments, and you can do that by following the website that is squadgames.net. Check that out, squad-games.net. It's on our event list, so you can see everything coming up, which we do have one coming up real soon. That's going to be in August. I can't remember the dates quite off the top of my head, but we'll pull it up in just a second. So
August
you can
9th
catch that.
and
That's
10th.
going to be... There you go, 9th and 10th. That's going to be here in Santa Clarita, California, in the same venue that the ABTT is at. If you want to jump in on that, it's a 2-day event as well. And I believe that's also a golden ticket, if I remember right. So if you're looking to try to get to Worlds, this is a great way to do it. And if you're in the Southern California area, we hope to see you there.
Yeah. Now, Giacomo, there we go. Giacomo, I would like to shout out Tabletop Mayhem. That person on YouTube is our sister channel, and she makes a ton of great shorts and a lot of good lore videos, especially for beginners. So if you are just a competitive player and you're looking to get into some lore, or maybe you don't know why cherubs have little tiny wings and look like little angels, go ahead and check out her videos. She goes through a lot of fun and interesting things, and she also does a lot of great shorts. I also want to shout out, our Patreons for coming out. We got a lot of stuff about to release online that you can pick up, right? Like dice trays that you've been looking around and stuff like that. This is a special All Valley Team Tournament color, right? Not all colors will be available online. We're going to do very limited stuff so we can make sure we get some stuff out. And, the micro box is finally coming to the internet, so you can buy one. And, all of our tokens that people have been trying to get. So keep an eye out for those. We have a brand new game mat, the Into the Dark game mat designed by me. And a lot of other cool stuff, So if you want to help support us out and you like cool Kill Team stuff, perhaps, give us a shot, buy something, and we'll ship it out to you. So trying to not make anything made to order anymore because it's too hard to make stuff and get them out in a timely manner. So I make a lot of stuff and then I sell it. So, G,
Yes.
I appreciate you. I want to give you a shout out. Thank you for jumping on and being
Thank you.
on. As always, you are the man. And I don't think enough people tell you that, we always give out shout outs to Alexander Popov, which I do, but I'm also going to give out a shout to my boy Giacomo. He is the man. So, thank you all for, man. You're welcome, brother. Thank you guys all for watching the episode or listening to the episode. Thanks for listening. Shout out to you for making it to the end. Gee, what are we going to have him say at the end of the episode?
Is the box worth it? Sure.
Oh yeah, is the box worth? So are we having them say, "Is the box worth?" Are they going to say yes? That's a good one. Are they just going to say no? Yes, or are they just going to say no? Or are they going to say like, not 330? Or are they literally going to copy what we wrote for like a full paragraph and like transcribe it into what are we having them exactly say?
I'd buy it for 350.
I'd buy it for 350. Tree fitty.
I'd buy it for tree fitty.
I'd buy it for tree fitty. I'm so excited
in some variation
how people are going to spell
to write that,
because I would spell it phonetically. That's what I would do. Phonetically is not spelled phonetically, so I don't even know how to say it.
It starts with an F, right?
I'm pretty sure. or it starts with a K. I'm not really sure. You know,
Who knows?
kinetically. You know, get it? Huh. That's kinetics. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Yeah. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this first impressions video. We're trying to do something a little bit different. We kind of went a little bit too man reads book style on it, but you know, it is what it is. We learn from the bests. So if you guys like this episode, let us know. If you didn't, let us know. Give us a like, dislike, engage for the engagement gods. Until next time.
Yeah, and don't forget to check out the battle report.
Should be good. Oh, gee. We might be streaming the All Valley Team Tournament this Saturday. We completely
Yes.
forgot
Let's do that as the final shout out. So, you know, you can stay tuned to that. That's on our Twitch channel as well. This being said, that the service works, because I know that venues had a little bit of an issue with the internet before. But if not, it will be recorded, and then it will be out usually within a week or two.
Yep. Should be
all
good.
the rounds, so you can get all 6 rounds, and you can see all the cool action that happens on at tournaments, and you could be part of it.
You could. Yeah, cool. Until next time.
See ya.